From translation, NIV New International Version, this 137th day of the year, today we are reading passages 2 Chronicles 25-27, 2 Chronicles chapter 25, verses 1 to 28. Amaziah was 20 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 29 years. His mother's name was Jehoadin, she was from Jerusalem. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, but not wholeheartedly. The high places, however, were not removed. The people continued to offer sacrifices and burn incense there. After the kingdom was firmly in his grasp, he executed the officials who had murdered his father, the king. Then he mustered the men of Judah and Benjamin, a total of 300,000 men, capable of fighting in battle, armed with spears and large shields. He also hired 100,000 fighting men from Israel for 100 talents of silver. But a man of God came to him and said, "Your Majesty, do not let the Israelite army go with you, for the Lord is not with Israel, not with any of these Ephraimites. But if you must go, do it, be strong for the battle. God will overthrow you before the enemy. For God has the power to help or to overthrow." Amaziah asked the prophet, "But what about the 100 talents I paid for these Israelite soldiers?" The man of God replied, "The Lord can give you much more than that." So Amaziah dismissed the troops he had brought from Ephraim and sent them home. They were furious with Judah and went home in a great rage. Amaziah then marshaled his forces and led them to the Valley of Salt, where he killed 10,000 Edomites in battle. The 10,000 Edomites who survived fled to a strong fort. But Amaziah and his troops came and carried off all it and also its towns. He killed everyone there and put garrisons in each town. Now the troops Amaziah had sent back, and who had not gone with him to battle, raided the towns of Judah, from Samaria to Beth-horon, and attacked 3,000 people, and carried off great plunder. After Amaziah returned from slaughtering the Edomites, he brought the gods of the people of Seir, set them up as his own gods, and bowed down and burned sacrifices to them. The anger of the Lord burned against Amaziah, and he sent a prophet to him, who said, "Why have you sought a god of your people that could not save you from their hand?" The prophet was talking with him when Amaziah asked, "Have we appointed you as the king's counselor? Stop, why should you be struck down?" The prophet stopped but said, "I know that God has determined to destroy you, because you have done this and have not listened to my advice." After Amaziah king of Judah consulted his advisers, he sent this challenge to Jehoash son of Jehoahaz, the king of Israel: "Come meet me face to face." But Jehoash king of Israel replied to Amaziah king of Judah, "A thistle in Lebanon sent a message to a cedar in Lebanon, saying, 'Give me your daughter for my son.' Then a wild beast in Lebanon came along and trampled the thistle underfoot. You have indeed defeated Edom, and now you are arrogant. Glory in your victory, but stay at home. Why ask for trouble and cause your own downfall and that of Judah?" But Amaziah would not listen, for God had determined to destroy him for turning to their gods. So Jehoash king of Israel attacked. He and Amaziah king of Judah faced each other at Beit Shemesh in Judah. Jehoash king of Israel captured Amaziah king of Judah, the son of Joash, the son of Ahaziah, at Beit Shemesh. Then Jehoash brought him to Jerusalem, and broke down the wall of Jerusalem from the Ephraim gate to the corner gate, a section about 600 feet long. He took all the gold and silver, and all the articles found in the temple of the Lord, and in the treasuries of the royal palace. He also took hostages, and returned to Samaria. As for the other events of the reign of Amaziah, all he did, is it not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? After Amaziah turned away from following the Lord, he conspired against him in Jerusalem. He fled to Lachish, but men sent to Lachish to kill him. They assassinated him there, and his body was taken back by chariot to Jerusalem, where he was buried with his ancestors in the city of David. The other events of his reign, from beginning to end, are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. After Amaziah king of Judah consulted his advisers, he turned away from the Lord and brought down the high places. The people of Judah then made Azariah, his son, king in his place. Amaziah rested with his ancestors, and was buried with them in the city of David. Then Azariah his son succeeded him as king. 2 Chronicles chapter 26, verses 1 to 23. Then all the people of Judah took Uzziah, who was 16 years old, and made him king in place of his father Amaziah. He was the one who rebuilt Elath and restored it to Judah after the king rested with his ancestors. Uzziah was 16 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 52 years. His mother's name was Jechaliah. She was from Jerusalem. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father Amaziah had done. He sought God during the days of Zechariah, who instructed him in the fear of God. As long as he sought the Lord, God gave him success. He went to war against the Philistines and broke down the walls of Gath, Jabneh, and Ashdod. He then rebuilt the towns near Ashdod and elsewhere among the Philistines. God helped him against the Philistines and against the Arabs who lived in Gur Baal and against the Munites. The Ammonites brought tribute to Uzziah, and his fame spread as far as the border of Egypt, for he had become very powerful. Uzziah built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gate, at the valley gate, and at the angle gate, and he fortified them. He also built towers in the wilderness and dug many cisterns, because he had much livestock in the foothills and in the plain. He had people working in the fields and vineyards in the hills and in Carmel, for he loved the soil. Uzziah had a well-trained army, ready to go out by divisions according to their numbers, as mustered by Jael the secretary, and Marcia the officer under the direction of Hananiah, one of the royal officials. The total number of family leaders over the mighty warriors was 26,000. Under their command was an army of 307,500 men trained for war, a great power to support the king against his enemies. Uzziah provided shields, spears, helmets, coats of armor, bows, and slingstones for the entire army. In Jerusalem, he made devices invented by skilled workers to be on the towers and corner defenses to shoot arrows and large stones. His fame spread far and wide, for he was greatly helped until he became powerful. But after Uzziah became powerful, his pride led to his downfall. He was unfaithful to the Lord his God, and entered the temple of the Lord to burn incense on the altar of incense. Azariah the priest with 80 other courageous priests of the Lord followed him in. They confronted King Uzziah and said, "It is not right for you, Uzziah, to burn incense to the Lord. That is for the priests, the descendants of Aaron, who have been consecrated to burn incense. Leave the sanctuary, for you have been unfaithful, and you will not honor the Lord God of Israel." Uzziah, who was holding a censer, became angry. While he was raging at the priests before the incense altar in the Lord's temple, leprosy broke out on his forehead. When Azariah the chief priest and all the other priests looked at him, they saw that he had leprosy on his forehead, so they hurried him out. He himself was eager to leave, because the Lord had afflicted him. King Uzziah had leprosy until the day he died. He lived in a separate house, leprous, and banned from the temple of the Lord. Jotham his son had charge of the palace, and governed the people of the land. The other events of Uzziah's reign, from beginning to end, are recorded by the prophet Isaiah son of Amoz. Uzziah rested with his ancestors and was buried with them in a cemetery that belonged to the kings, for people said he had leprosy, and Jotham his son succeeded him as king. 2 Chronicles chapter 27, verses 1-9. Jotham was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 16 years. His mother's name was Jerusha, daughter of Zadok. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father Uzziah had done, but unlike him he did not enter the temple of the Lord. The people, however, continued their corrupt practices. Jotham rebuilt the upper gate of the temple of the Lord, and did extensive work on the wall at the hill of Ophel. He built towns in the hill country of Judah and forts and towers in the wooded areas. He fought with the king of the Ammonites and conquered them. That year the Ammonites paid him 100 talents of silver, 10,000 cors of wheat, and 10,000 cors of barley. The Ammonites brought him the same amount for the next 2 years. Jotham grew powerful because he walked steadfastly before the Lord his God. The other events of Jotham's reign, all his wars and how he ruled, are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 16 years. Jotham rested with his ancestors, and he was buried in the city of David, and Ahaz his son succeeded him as king.